We start this series off with Alan Keck, the mayor of Somerset, who says for him, this run for governor is about common sense.
Late last year, Somerset's mayor, Alan Keck, entered the statewide arena.
So many of you know me well, and others might not.
And jumped into Kentucky's race for governor.
Congratulations, you're on the ballot.
All right.
Good luck to you.
Thank you so much.
Keck quickly outlined his platform, which he calls his, quote, game plan for Kentucky.
The voters are going to know exactly where we stand on every issue.
So what exactly is in this plan? Well, Keck stopped by LEX18 to talk about it all.
But I don't see that executive leadership that's in the field that's needed.
And when someone's running for governor, there's an obvious first question.
Why are you running for governor?
I'm running for governor to transform Kentucky. There's so much potential, untapped potential in our Commonwealth, and I want to unleash that.
But it's no secret that Keck has some competition in the Republican primary, and several of the candidates that he's running against currently hold statewide elected positions. So there has been some discussion about whether Keck, who serves in a local role as mayor, is ready for the governor's office. And to that, Keck says he's prepared.
The challenges that I face in Somerset in public safety, infrastructure, economic development, working with the legislative body, that need to build consensus has equipped me to be ready to lead from day one. I actually think I'm uniquely qualified, even though we might have not taken the traditional political ladder, if you will.
Public polling shows that Keck doesn't have as strong of name recognition as some of the other candidates. But when he was put against several of the others in a recent debate, his performance got him some attention. In post-debate analysis, people started calling Keck the more moderate candidate of the group.
Do you think that's an accurate characterization? Do you believe you are more moderate than the other candidates, and do you view that as a strength?
I don't like labels necessarily. What I would say is I'm a common sense, do something leader. And I'm not scared to take a position that might not match up with the traditional party. But what I'm not going to be is one of these jack-in-the-box, pull-the-cord Republican candidates. I'm a problem solver, a change agent. And if some think that makes me a little more moderate, so be it.
An example of how Keck differs from some of his Republican competitors is the topic of abortion. Kentucky's current anti-abortion laws do not allow for exceptions for rape or incest, and critics of those laws believe that goes too far. Keck says he would support some changes to Kentucky's current anti-abortion laws.
I still think some consideration has to be given for the woman's life, especially in the instance of violent crime, rape and incest. That pregnancy was created in what I'm going to call violent sin. And I think in that instance, there needs to be time and consideration for the mom. And I would never encourage an abortion, but I certainly think there has to be latitude and grace given to her life, not just the life of the child in that instance.
Sticking to the topic of health care, the Kentucky General Assembly passed a law that critics say is one of the worst anti-trans measures in the country. One of the things the law does is ban gender-affirming care for trans kids. Supporters of the law say it's to protect kids from possible regret in the future, while critics say lawmakers are involving themselves in personal decisions.
Do you believe that state government has a place in this decision, or do you think that should be left up to parents?
Yeah, I do. I support parents' involvement naturally in their child's life, but we're talking about life-altering decisions before their brain's fully formed, before you can buy tobacco or alcohol. I think it's, again, where I come back to this common sense approach that we don't need kids, or kids even with their parents, making that type of decision at that age. When they turn 18, they'll have more of a right to make that decision.
Turning to the economy, Kentucky lawmakers have enacted a plan to gradually get rid of personal income tax. It's a plan Keck says he supports, but he stresses that Kentucky must focus on fixing its workforce problems.
I think getting to zero is smart, allowing Kentuckians to keep more of their money. They'll be taxed on how they choose to spend it. But our policy really is focused on the workforce crisis. We are landing new jobs and opportunities, but who's going to work there? We've been as low as 49th in America in workforce, and so we've proposed what we call sliding scale benefits, where we take care of the working poor instead of those unwilling to work. And I fully believe that'll transform Kentucky's economy.
Do you support Kentucky's current public school system? And if you were elected governor, would there be any changes that you would propose?
I support public school teachers, and with that doesn't mean that I can't support school choice and a parent's right to have involvement. We shouldn't apologize for parents wanting to know what their kids are being taught, but I want the voters to hear me loud and clear. Public education in America is foundational. It's a cornerstone about what makes our country special. That every child has the opportunity to be taught and create hope and opportunity. And so there are reforms needed. I think we want to make sure that we're teaching Kentucky values in our schools. But this notion that we need to blow it up and start over, to me, is nonsense.
Keck says the goal should be to ensure that Kentucky's kids have access to high-quality education, whether it's through public school, private school, charter school, or even homeschool. He believes options are needed, and he also stresses early childhood education.
The stats are conclusive. Money spent on kids ages 3 to 5 produces better life outcomes.
So you believe that universal pre-K is needed in Kentucky?
I absolutely do. I've been talking about it every day on the trail. And I recognize that's not a traditional Republican talking point, and that's okay with me.
So Keck says he's not afraid to stand up for change, and his message to voters is simple.
And that I have no doubt in my mind that if I'm governor, we'll take a back seat to no state in the country.
In Lexington, Carolina Butrek, LEX18 News.